Make yourself large. Now you know why this is called Game Creek. This is one of the more popular trails and just 3-mile drive south of home. First time this year, we're gonna kind of go up nice, easy, gradual climb till we hit snow. Got some nice runoff. It's just a beautiful morning. Truck said 45 degrees, feels a little warmer than that. May have overdressed a little bit, but we're gonna head up the double track and then it becomes single track. And we'll probably hit some snow. I'm just gonna go up until I hit snow. So I heard it's about a 3-mile up before snow hits. So it's gonna be probably, I'm guessing, because I usually run further, I'm guessing it's gonna be maybe 600-700 feet of climbing. So just nice gradual climb. Good day for just a nice easy run after yesterday's hard hill repeat. So we're gonna do some coaching tips along the way today. A lot of heart rate stuff maybe and some fueling stuff, but just kind of variety of tips as we go. So here comes the sun and it's gonna be a beautiful day. It's perfect temperature and let's see what the trail's all about today. Usually I saw the mountain lion sign, but usually the game we see up here is deer and moose. Once we hit up into the meadows, there's a lot of willows and things and moose like to munch on. So we'll see what we can see today. Here we go. Maybe some mountain lion breakfast there. But I've got, today I've got the Dynafit Feline Up Pros again today. Continuing to test these out. These are made for true alpine climbing, a lot of rugged terrain. But today we're gonna hit mixed terrain. Like here I've got nice soft single track, but we'll hit some rocks up here and just a little bit of everything. I just wanted to test them out on a variety of mixed terrain today and see how they do, and continue to get more time in them. So if you saw yesterday's video, I did super hard hill repeats. So today's just kind of a nice, easy endurance day. And I'm strictly running by heart rate. I'm gonna keep it in zone 2, zone 3. The grade will be gentle enough, allow me to do that. And what I'm looking for is how easy my heart rate elevates to gauge my fatigue levels. So yesterday was hard. Just want to see how well I'm recovered and just gonna watch heart rate during the whole run just to see how fatigued or how recovered I am. Got a little bit of snow here in the shade. Little mud, mixed terrain, like I said. Mixed terrain. Perfect trail to keep testing these shoes. So yesterday, I also made sure I refueled with a little bit more carbohydrates yesterday after my hard hill repeat. So had salmon, a lot of Brussels sprouts, and actually a lot of rice. I don't eat rice a lot, but I found that my body responds really well to rice, and kind of loaded up on the rice last night to refuel muscle glycogen for today. And so far my heart rate's really responsive right now. My legs feel good. I'm really encouraged by how I feel. And several weeks ago, I had a great question from one of the YouTube watchers on my video. And his question was, what kind of parameters, or what do I look at when I analyze some of my athletes on a daily basis? And we're gonna get into that today to kind of help you maybe detect if you're tired, you need more fuel. Just some good diagnostics of what I look at to analyze workouts. Back to mud. Now hitting a single track. It's nice, it's not dusty. This is perfect conditions right in here. All right, I am 20 minutes in, just really gradually built my heart rate to get a good warm up in. And like I mentioned, I'm feeling really good. And what I'm doing after a hard day, I'm really looking at my heart rate, keeping it in zone 2, zone 3, and seeing how high or how easily it elevates relative to kind of just what I'm used to being observant around it for. And I'm also looking at my wattage to see if my watts and my heart rate kind of jive, meaning, hey, are my watts kind of where I would know them to be on a trail like this, on a climb like this, and is my heart rate equivalent to that? And they are. They're really, they match how I would normally want them to match in a rested, feeling good state. And this is what I look at it with a lot of my athletes kind of on a day-to-day basis. And this week is a good example. I've got one athlete who is training for Wasatch 100 and got a post-workout comment from him last night of he had a 400-meter workout at the track. And he commented on how it was really challenging from an effort standpoint. He hit his numbers and hit his speed that we wanted him to, but based on his comments, it was a challenge, and maybe a little bit more challenge than I wanted it to be. And then I went in and looked at his data and noticed that relative to his speed and his effort being very challenging, his heart rate was really low. And this means one of two things, or both, is that when speed and intensity is elevated and challenging and heart rate is low relative to that effort, that means the legs are really tired, or you're low on fuel. And so he did his workout later in the evening. So my bet is that he was maybe more leaning towards being low on fuel than having really fatigued legs. And so we talked about, with a workout like this in the evening after a long day, that you might want to maybe take some type of fuel source with you to the track, maybe even an hour before you're heading to the track, to do a hard, intense workout like this to help just restore all your energy that may have been depleted throughout the week. So that's one way that I look to detect how things are going. And just the opposite example, I had another athlete earlier in the week doing a similar type of workout, training for Leadville 100, and just the opposite. He hit his numbers, he hit his speed, and his heart rate was elevated to where I would expect it to be. And so I know that things are just kind of falling in place that day. And so it's kind of two examples on two ends that what I look for to really evaluate, and how we can use heart rate to evaluate. Again, if we're using me for an example today, let's say I'm running like I am, my watts are where they are, but my breathing is a little bit more labored, and maybe my heart rate's 5 to 10 beats lower than it is right now. So my perceived exertion is high, my heart rate is low. That would probably mean I have tired legs from yesterday's intense workout, and I just need to really keep it easy today. Okay, and so that's again how we can start use heart rate to help us know when we need recovery and not push through things. So if you're having a hard time elevating your heart rate and the perceived exertion's high, it might be a good day to really go back to kind of a zone 1, zone 2 recovery day, and maybe even shorten it up if it's going to be a long day, and save it for another day. So we'll see how I keep feeling as we head up. Okay, warm up over. Now time for some steady state. Beautiful trail. This summer this gets pretty dusty because this gets sun baked, but right now it's awesome. Okay, this is where the Dynafit Feline Up Pro is going to be different than the Salomon S-Lab 7. Stuff like this, muddy, it's just more grip than the hard ground Salomon. And the Salomon has the soft ground, but then you have to have kind of two shoes, where this shoe can do both, which I really, really like that flexibility, because now I'm back to good running. More snow up here. And this is in those bogs that I was talking about, where quite often we can see moose in here. There's a lot of wetlands down there. They love just eating all this willow. That's their meal of choice. And just a few little snow spots here and there until we get up here, and it's gonna, once it really starts, it's gonna not stop. So we'll just turn around. But yeah, this trail's awesome. Kind of see a little creek, but all this is wetlands, moose terrain. Actually, this is a good shot. Right up here is the Game Creek Divide, and up here where we're gonna hit snow is a fork. You can go left or right. Going left along this canyon cut here, I can loop right back to my house. So this is just an amazing trail system that you can pretty much do as much as you want to do, without a ton of continuous climbing, but it's enough to have it in your backyard. So here's more snow, so a little bit of walking here, a little bit of walking and talking. This also gets super popular. This is one of the more popular trails in town. That's why it's good to hit it now before the mountain bikers can get on it. See all the north facing snow. That's what we're gonna hit up here. Ooh, there's a little osprey floating in the wind. Perfect temperature. So I've just got my heart rate pegged in high zone 2, the occasional zone 3 when I hit a little hill, but it's feeling really good, and just a nice good endurance day. What I want to avoid, since I do feel good, is to push it, because I've got a hard day tomorrow. So I'm working on my cadence on trail, because I haven't been able to spend a lot of time on trail yet. So this is really kind of the handful of trail runs this year so far. So working on my cadence. Nice easy day. So let's recap a minute. Heart rate's low relative to your known perceived exertion and what you're used to. Try taking in more fuel. Maybe you need some recovery that day. With that, if you're out on a long run and towards the end of the run, you notice that the heart rate's starting to drop, but you're trying to maintain your effort and the effort's starting to feel more difficult, that's the time for fuel. Okay, it's not so much about fatigue. Most times in ultramarathoning, fatigue is a sign of low fuel rather than just normal, what we would consider fatigue. And that can be demoralizing. If we start thinking we're fatigued and we still have more to go with our long run, or we have to keep it up at a certain level of effort, that's really demoralizing. And like I said, more times than not, it's a fueling issue. So if you stop and fuel, you'll notice your heart rate come back up, and you'll start feeling a whole lot better. So start to see and detect for yourself if fatigue is actually what you're feeling versus the fatigue that's generated by low fuel. And with that, many times my athletes have been tired and have fatigue in the legs, but still have elevated heart rate and still able to perform even within that fatigue. In a race, hey, everybody's getting tired towards the end, but are you still able to perform versus being fatigued from low fuel? that eventually will bring you right back out of it within a few minutes. Okay, but it takes practice. So notice if fatigue is actually a disguise for low fuel for you. Sometimes it's just the simple things about an easy run that you can just watch mallard ducks fly away as you're listening to the water trickle down the mountain. It's amazing what nature does. And here's the snow I promised you. This starts taking a bend more on the north side, so that's why it's still filled with a ton of snow. And just up here is that fork or Y, and the other trail goes right along here that I can take to my house in kind of a good maybe 15 miler. And then this goes up to the divide where you can see the peak up there, and then drops down into the trails into town. So I'm gonna turn around here and call it a day and focus on my downhill. But I'm gonna finish, we talked about low heart rate. What happens if you have high heart rate? Typically, let's use kind of the same example, but in a different way. If you go out and you notice that you put your heart rate monitor on and your heart rate's already elevated, more than you're used to it seeing before you even start your run. And then as you start running, relative to your effort, it's maybe 10 beats higher than you're used to seeing it at that level of effort. That typically means you're dehydrated. And just you probably got behind, and it's just a good diagnostic to know that you might need to drink. You know, it obviously is also can be a sign that you're getting sick, but if that's not the case, and if you look back in your week and yeah, I had some hard workouts and it's been hot, dehydration's maybe one culprit to look at. So fuel up and drink up. And with that, also elevated heart rate in general is, I have a few athletes now who live in warmer climates, and Australia earlier in the year, but now like Florida, Alabama, warmer Arizona, you know, they're expecting temperatures over 100 degrees Fahrenheit already in Arizona. So I know that in that heat, their heart rate's going to be elevated just because they're having to work harder in the heat, and their speed is going to be slower. So we must account for that. It's no different than going to elevation and knowing that your effort's going to feel harder and you're going to be a little slower at elevation. Same in the heat. If all of a sudden you see a jump in temperature that you're not used to, you know, your body's going to be working a lot harder. So heart rate's going to be elevated and speed's going to be lower. So you need to accommodate that in your workouts. And what I'll do is, if someone's in that environment all summer, this is a time I will retest them in these warmer temperatures to get true heart rate numbers, heart rate, speed, all those kind of data that I put into my training zone. So now we're working at more of a level playing field with how the climate's going to be going forward in the next few months. So look for that just as much as low heart rate, high heart rate with dehydration and warmer temps. So, all right. The water's flowing down the mountains. Things are melting, and I'm gonna flow down the hill. I'm gonna sign off here because I want to focus on getting a good, nice, steady effort downhill, and call it a day. So thanks for watching, and throw me your questions. A lot of good stuff here, so throw me your questions. See ya.